Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. So today we are going to be covering um we're going to continue our lecture where we stopped yesterday. So if you can hear me, kindly drop it in the comment section. Good morning, I can see you all are popping in already. All right, so today we are going to continue from where we stopped yesterday. Welcome to today's lecture. All right, so today we are going to continue our Git and GitHub tutorial. Right, we are going to cover the aspect of creating our first repository and pushing our code. Right, so remember yesterday I told you guys that I was going to give you an overview of how GitHub works also. All right, so if you have installed your Git from yesterday, I told you guys to install Git, yes. So just go to your command line and type git dash dash version, right? So let me go ahead to share my screen right now. So just come to your command line here and type git dash dash version and click enter, right? So once you click enter and you see something like this, right? GitHub, Git version 2 point, whatever version you are seeing. So that means you've successfully installed Git and you are good to go. All right. So quickly, let's go ahead to look at GitHub together. All right. So remember, I explained yesterday that GitHub is a platform that basically allows you to manage your code in the cloud, right? So all your code, you're pushing all your code to the cloud, and everything is safe there. All right. And basically, once you have opened your GitHub, once you've signed up, you should see something like this, right? So come to GitHub, right, and overview, right? So click on overview, right? So it's going to take you to your home page. You might not have something as fine as what is here, right? Because I have my own GitHub profile customized already, and I'm also going to teach you guys how to customize your GitHub profile, how to create all of these cool animations, right? But for now, I would say that you guys are beginners, right? So just take a chill pill, understand some basics of programming language. You can, if you know Excel very well, you've done Power BI, you've done SQL, you've done Python and all of that. Um, Basically, you cannot go ahead to add that to your GitHub overview. But for now, since you guys don't really have any experience, just hold on for now. So we'll get to an aspect where we're going to customize our GitHub profile together. All right. So once you open your GitHub profile, right, you will see something like this, and you might just have just one repository, right? And that repository will be your name, right? So you might have something like this, right? So this particular repository, you can see this one is called Eniola Ademola, right? So there's just one usefulness of this repository, right? What However you go ahead to customize your GitHub README here, right? That is what is going to be showing in your overview. Remember, overview. So that's what it's going to show you. All right. So if you have installed Git, kindly drop it in the comment section so that I can know you guys are following me. All right. Okay. So let me go ahead to open this so I can follow up with what is going on here. Minutes. All right. So at this particular left section, right, this is where you can go ahead to customize your name. I mean, just click on edit profile, right? And you can add your name here, add your bio. If you are an aspiring data analyst, if you're a data analyst, you can go ahead to add that to your bio. And here you can add your pronouns, he or him. Also, you can go ahead to add your socials, right? So if you have a GitHub account, sorry, if you have a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, you can go ahead to add that here. All right. And this achievements, just leave it. GitHub is going to do its thing. Once you start contributing to GitHub repositories, you start doing pull requests and all of that, this achievement is going to pop up here by itself. You can see that over here we have you can see we have like, so let me go back. You can see if I over these stuffs, we have star struck. So you can see I created a repository that has many stars. All right. So a star is just like people have liked that particular repository and they went ahead to star it. Okay. So they went ahead to start that repository to say, okay, I really like this repository. All right. So we also have this YOLO, which basically signifies that um I've been able to merge. They've merged some of my code without review, right? So this achievement is pretty going to come here by itself. So that's what we have here also. And this organization is just going to show the particular company you are working with or a particular organization you are working with. All right. So that's what we have here. So then if I go down, you would see that so all these ones here are also part of the README. So I'm going to teach you how to create a README once we have acquired a relevant skill later. So don't worry about that. So here also you can see I have this pinned profile here. So this place is just where you can pin some of your best repository that you've created before. All right. If you guys can hear me very well in the comment section, kindly drop is clear so I can know you guys are good. Is the audio good? Uh, All right. So here also once I go down, you would see that I have something that is called contribution in the last year. All right. So let me go ahead and click this for you guys very well. All right. So basically, what this green dot is basically going to tell GitHub is once you can be active for a particular day, right? So if you are familiar with Snapchat streaks, right? Remember that if you send your friend streaks for the first time, you're going to see something like a fire button, then one. All right. So basically, it just tells you um how active you are for a particular day in GitHub, right? So that means let's say let me just go back, let me just use an example quickly. All right. So you can see here we have we have three contributions on May 13th, right? So that means I made a total of three contributions on this day, May 13th. So the more you push to your GitHub, the more you're going to have this green icons here, right? This green box. And basically the higher your total contribution is, the thicker the color is, all right? So for example, you can see here that on May 11th, I have 59 contributions. That's why this box is very, very thick. I told you that you can see what you have been doing over the past years. So you can see once I click on it, this 2023 and this also 2022. All right. And basically, what this place does is it shows you the commit you made that particular day. All right. So that's that about the overview section. What we have here is just this place. You can go ahead see go to home. So this home tab is going to basically give you an overview of what is going on your GitHub profile, right? So you can see created a repository, somebody followed me, and so on and so forth, right? So I would advise you guys to actually go ahead to follow me. Just click on the link this on check the description box below. You're going to see my GitHub profile. Go ahead to follow me because once I update our class repository, whatever code I do and I push the code to our repo, you are going to see the notification here also, right? So that's home tab. We also have issues, we have pull requests, and you don't need to worry too much about this. I'm going to go ahead to cover it later on as we go along with the class. All right. So I'm going to go back to my home, right? My profile now, my profile. And one thing I want to also show you guys is repositories, projects, packages, and stars, right? So this project, you don't need to worry too much about it. Basically, it's when you create your first GitHub project, it's going to show up here, right? Packages also, you don't need to worry much about it. And also stars is just the repositories that you've starred, all right? So if you, for example, like a particular project I've done before, and you start that repository, once you come to your GitHub and you click on stars, it's going to show you the stars that you have made over the past um over your GitHub account. All right. So the important part where I want to show you is repository, right? So basically, repository, you are going to see all the projects that you've done over the past few years. Over the past time you've had your GitHub account, you can see if I click on next, it's going to show projects, right? All the projects I've done over the past few years, all right? But what I want you to click on is click on new, right? So we're going to be doing this together step by step. So we are going to create our first repository and we're going to push it, all right? So if I go back to, let me quickly go ahead to see if I can open my drive for you. So I'm going to show you guys what we are going to be doing from yesterday's class. All right, so if I go ahead open my drive, Just give me a minute, guys. Let me go ahead to open it. By the way, have you guys installed Git? Okay, good morning. Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Give me a minute. It's loading. Mm. So one thing that I want you guys to know is when you actually start writing your first, when you start pushing your code first and all of that, it might seem confusing, right? You might be confused and all of that. But if you can understand the basics very well, trust me, you won't really have issues. Basically, Git and GitHub can be tricky sometimes, especially if you don't understand the fundamentals very well. You might say, "Oh, what am I doing? What is what? What is this?" and all of that. But basically, once you can get to understand it very well, trust me, you are going to be good to go. All right, you are going to be good to go. Very good. All right, so this is what we are going to be doing today. Remember, I explained yesterday, right? Git init, git add, git commit, git clone, git push, and git pull, right? So this is what we're going to be covering today. Basically showing you how to use this basic command. And if I go forward to my slide, you see that I told you guys that we're going to do an example workflow, right? Create a project folder. We're going to use Git to track the changes, right? So we're going to use Git to see, okay, how can we track how our files are actually going on? And basically, we're going to be using command line for this right now, right? So as we move on with the course, once we can basically complete our Python beginners aspects, and we switch from using Jupyter Notebook to VS Code. I will show you how you can use VS Code interface to basically perform your Git commands very well. But for now, we are going to be focusing mainly on the basics, so make sure to pay attention. All right. So we are going to go ahead to create a project folder, right? Then after, we're going to use Git to track those changes. And also we're going to push the project to GitHub to share it so that everyone can see what we are doing. All right. Okay. So now, once you go to your repository on GitHub, right? So yeah, the first thing you have to specify is the repo name. And what is the repository name? All right. So repository name is just you telling GitHub, all right, so you just telling GitHub that, okay, this is the particular name I want people to see my code base as. All right, so you can name it anything. All right, so for me, I'm going to be naming it Python programming tutorial. All right, so this is going to be my repository name, Python programming tutorial. You can name it whatever you want to name it. You can name it my Python code, right? Whatever you want to name it. But basically, this is the repo where I'm going to be pushing whatever we've learned for the day. I'm going to be pushing everything here. All right, so description is optional, but I'm just going to write my description. I'm going to say this is the main, right? This is the repo that contains this is the repo that contains all the class resources for Python and data analysis, right? So this is where I'm going to be pushing everything to. All right, so it's going to be public, and I'm not going to add a readme. Now the reason is because if you go ahead to click add a readme, you might not see those commands that GitHub is going to give you in order to actually initialize the GitHub, in order to initialize a folder and in order to push your code. All right, so I'm going to leave this blank, add a readme profile, and this git ignore, I'm going to leave it blank also. And I'm going to go ahead to click create repository. All right, so once you do this, you are going to see this command like this, something like this, right? So you see echo, readme, git init, git add, and all of this, right? But basically, what is going on here? Why do we need all of this command? I'm going to explain in a bit. All right. So quickly, let's go ahead to open our Anaconda. Right. Let's open our Anaconda. Let's see. Okay, let me go ahead to open my file. I'm going to open this from my applications. All right. So we're going to wait for it to load. And while that is loading, our let's go to our folder rather. So I'm going to go ahead to open my folder, right? and I'm going to go into where I created that Python course that we did the first time, the Python file, if you remember. All right, so when we were doing our setup and installation. All right, so I'm going to open, okay, I'm going to open my documents. I'm going to search for Python, where we created the first Python file. All right, so give me a minute, guys. So yeah, so I'm going to close this and I'm going to bring this here. So remember in our last class, we created this first Python code.ipynb. All right. So this place was where we actually wrote our first Python code. And I'm going to go ahead to push this to GitHub and you see I'm going to do it together. All right. So the first thing I want to do is to launch Jupyter Notebook just to review, just to see the file that we created the other day so that you guys can know and follow along also. So remember, once you click on Launch Jupyter Notebook, it's going to open this sort of command that you're seeing right here. And after that, it's going to take you here. All right. So nothing to worry about. And from here, once this is opened, we are going to go to our documents because that is where we are in. Right. Remember here. So let me go ahead to open this again. Remember, is in users, Daveworld, document, and Python tutorial course. All right, so I'm going to go to documents. So let me go ahead to zoom in. Sorry, let me go ahead to zoom this in so you guys can see very well. All right, so I'm going to go to Python tutorial course. All right, so remember what we did in our setup and installation, right? What we did here. All right, remember first Python code. Now let's go ahead to our GitHub. Now you see that they said that the first thing to do is to initialize our repository. And don't forget, I said that basically a repo is just like a folder that contains all the code we are working with. All right. So we have to run this command git init, git init. All right. But don't forget that the part where we want to push our code from is from where? Documents, then Python tutorial course. So let's go ahead to navigate to that place together, right? Let's go ahead to navigate there together. So remember to see where we are currently working in PWD. We did this course yesterday already, or a day before yesterday, covering command line. By the way, if you have not watched that tutorial, go ahead to watch it. You are going to see the video down in the description box or in our playlist of Python course. Or just check out our playlist about Git's introduction to command line interface. You are going to see there. All right, so you can see that currently we are in Daveworld documents, then command line. But where we are going to is Daveworld documents, then Python tutorial course. All right, so I'm going to go back one step, cd dot dot. All right, I'm now on my documents, and I'm going to say cd Python. I can use tab to complete. So you can see we have Python itself and we have Python tutorial course. All right, so I'm going to say Python tutorial um tutorial. So I'm going to use column here, right? Because we have space in it. All right. So I'm going to say Python tutorial course. Exactly. I'm going to close this and I'm going to click enter. All right. So if you have, that's why I always advise that if you are naming your folder, you should not use space. You should use underscore. This would be a mistake on my end. But basically, if you want to, if you have a folder that has space in it, you have to use the quotes. All right. So if I do pwd now, you would see that Python, we are currently in C Dev World documents and Python tutorial course. How can we confirm this? Let's list all the files that we have in this particular Python tutorial course. And to do that, if you're using Windows, is dir, yes. If you're using Mac, just do ls. All right. So you can see that here we just have first Python code.ipynb, and that's correct because that's what we have here. All right. So let's go ahead to continue. All right. So now what I want to do now is first I want to check if I'm tracking this with GitHub with Git. So to know if you are tracking a particular folder with Git, what you can do is you can type Git status, right? So basically what Git status does is it tells you or it confirms if you are it tells you or it confirms if you are actually tracking that particular folder with Git already. All right. So you're facing what issue? What issue are you facing? Mary Jane, let me know in the comment section so I can help you out. All right, if I can. Okay. So Git status is going to tell you if you're actually tracking that particular folder with Git. All right. So I'm going to click enter. You can see fatal, no Git repository or any of these parent directory.git. All right. So basically, you can see that we are not currently tracking it with Git. So what we can do is we can say Git init, right? And basically, once you run this Git init, remember that was the first command they asked us to run. That Git init is going to go ahead to what? Initialize the repository, right? So let me go back to our slide. All right. So you can see if I go back to Git init, you can see it says initialize a new Git repository, and that's what we went ahead to do right now. Okay, so just follow along. So the next thing to do, I told you guys, you don't need to cram anything. All right, so let me just go ahead to expand this. And I'm just going to control enter, and I'll go back to this place. All right, so I told you guys you don't need to cram anything, right? Because the commands are going to be given to you. So yeah, you can see they have git add readme.md, but basically it means that you should add the particular file, right? It can be, they just added this readme for example purpose. So if I want to add mine, I can say git add then the name of the file I want to add, right? So in this case, what's the name of the file I want to add? The name of the file is first python code.ipymb, right? Because that's the only file that we have here. So let me just bring this here so you guys can see it very well. I'll take this up a little bit. I will bring this here. All right. So you can see that this is what we have here only, right? This is the code we want to add. So you can just write git add then the name of the file that you want to add and click enter, right? But in case you have more than one file and you want to add everything, you want to add all the files you have in that particular folder, what you can do is you can say git add, then instead of you just specifying just one name, you can just say git add dot, right? So dot is going to add all the files for you, all the files and folder that in that particular repo that you created, right? For this case, our repo is what? Python tutorial course, all right? So I'm going to say git add, then dot, then click enter. Now, basically, don't forget what git add dot means is it's going to add, right, stage all changes for commit, right? So once we've staged all changes for commit, we need to actually drop a commit message, all right? So yeah, I'm going to drop a commit message, and you can see here they've also specified it for us here, right? So how can we specify the git commit message? I'm going to say git commit dash m, right? So git commit dash m, then the name of the message I want to commit, right? So I'm just going to say first commit, right? So this is my first commit ever, and that is the message I just want to pass there, right? Whatever commit message you do, right, is going to reflect on your GitHub, right? But what you can do is you can say first commit, and I'll just say um my first Python code. You can say first Python code, for example. You can just name your commit like that, right? So I'll say first Python code. And once you have written your commit message, you can go ahead to click enter. So you can see it's going to tell you that that's inserted the files. All right. So first file it inserted was the checkpoint for first Python notebook. So if you don't know, once you create a Jupyter notebook, you are also going to have a checkpoint. So that checkpoint actually helps you when it comes to saving your changes and all of that. All right. So that's why we have two files change, right? You can see first Python code.ipymb, right? So after we've done that, what is the next thing to do? Let's go back to GitHub. Now, then I said, after you've done that, run these commands, git branch dash m main, right? So I'm going to type it also here, git. And what it does is it's basically just rename your branch if the default branch you specified when you're installing it is masters. So remember in the installation of Git video, I told you guys to click main, not masters. If you've not watched that video also on how to install Git, the link is going to be dropped in the description box so you can check it out, right? So if you clicked on masters when you are installing your Git, the name of your default branch is going to be master throughout your whole creation of throughout your whole initialization of a Git repo, right? But what this does is it just goes ahead to rename your branch from masters to main, right? That's why I say git branch dash m main. All right. So I'm going to type git. Sorry, I've typed git before. So git branch dash m then main, right? Enter. So I've done that already. So the next thing to do now is to do what? To add our remote origin. So I'm going to copy this line. So git remote add origin, git this URL. So basically what this command tells us is git remote add origin this URL. So it's going to tell Git that whenever we make our changes and we want to push our file and want to upload our changes, upload it to this particular URL, right? Push our code to this particular URL cloud. All right. Emmanuel, what does it say? Um let me know. Right. So I've copied this command already. You see, you don't need to cram anything, you just need to understand how it works. All right. So git remote add, we're going to do that now. So I've pasted it already, right? Git remote add origin this, right? And click enter. Now, if you are running this for the first time, it's going to prompt you to input your username and your email, right? So what you're going to do is you just copy the command that it brings out for you. I think it's going to be git add dash dash username, then into quotes your username. So just copy it and just change that where it's writing your username to the username that you created on GitHub, and your email to go ahead to do that too, right? If it's your first time, so you don't need to worry about that. All right. So next is we are going to go ahead to push this now, right? So after we've added it, we're going to push this git push dash u origin main. All right. So what he's saying is git upload whatever changes I've done to my main branch. And how does git know where to upload it in? To this particular URL that we added here. All right. So I'm just going to click enter. And once I click enter, you're going to see that it's saying enumerate object, counting object, and all of that, right? So you can see here it says branch main set up to track, right? Under what? Origin slash main. All right. So a minute, I'll be back. All right. So now, once we have done that, what we can do now is we can now go back to our Git, our GitHub, and refresh. So now you can see that once we refresh, it's going to show up here. First commit, first Python code, right? And if you click on it here, you're going to see the changes that we made, right? So if I come here, you can see that this was the first thing that we did. Welcome to Python programming class, setup and installation. And my name is Dave, hello world, and all of this, right? So you can see that everything I did now, if you want to see it, you just need to come to this particular repository, click on it, and you're good to go. Now that we've covered how to initialize the repository, how to add, how to commit. The next we've looked at how to push also, right? So the remaining two parts we're going to be looking at now is how to clone a particular repository and how to pull. Now, what does cloning means? I explained it in our previous class, right? In the part one of Git and of introduction to Git and GitHub. So you can also watch that video. Now, to clone a repository means that if you want to have a copy of what I'm doing currently in your local on your system, right? You want to have whatever changes I'm making to this particular repository. You want to have the updates on your own end also. You are going to go ahead to clone that repository, right? And by the way, this is where we're going to be uploading our Python class. So you can go ahead to start it, right? You can come here and click on start. So once you start this and I push any changes or I make any changes to this particular repository, you are going to see the updates from your GitHub overview, right? So I'll advise you guys to go ahead to start this repository and just start it for now. You might not know what fork is, but just start it for now. All right. So now, to basically clone a particular repo is very simple and straightforward. What you have to do is just come here to code and click copy. Copy this URL, right? Copy this URL. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone these changes to to a particular folder. So now let's go back to our command line, right? So now if I do paste working directory, you would see that I'm in Daveworld document Python tutorial course. Now I'm going to go back cd dot dot, and now we're in documents. I'm going to go to my command line folder. So I'll say cd command line. Now, if I do paste ls to list everything that we have here, you see that we just have readme.txt, test, and we have what? Videos. Now, I want to clone what we did here. All right. And how can I do that? I'm going to say git clone, and the URL that I copied here, the one I copied here, I'm just going to paste it here. Right. Enter. So this is how you can also clone the changes that I've made also. Now you can see that it says receiving blah blah blah, everything done, right? So counting done, compressing update done, and all of that. Now if I say ls now, you're going to see that we now have Python programming tutorial here. And basically, so if you're getting git commit is not a fit command, right? So that means you have not initialized. It's either you have not initialized the repository yet, or you don't have git installed. All right. So now that means if I come here and if I go to my um home page now and I go back to document and I go back to command line, right? You can see that we now have Python programming tutorial. And basically, all of the changes that I've made in our previous code, you're going to see everything here. Because, I just cloned this from GitHub, right? So that's how to clone a repository. Very simple and straightforward, right? So once you can have this link, you do git clone, then paste the link at the front and click enter. You're going to have all the changes that I've made to this particular um code itself, right? So now notice that, how about if I now make changes? Because currently you can only see the changes that I've done previously, right? So how about if I now make changes to this particular repository? How can you have what you have cloned updated? That's where we have git pull. All right. So let's do some basic example together before we end this lecture. So now if I come here, right, and I close this and I come to my pa- my folder here, right? This first Python code, I'm going to create a new file, right? And to create a new file, I'm just going to go back here. I'll say cd space dot dot, and I'm going to say cd space Python tutorial course. What's the name again? What did I name it? Let me see. Document Python tutorial course. Okay, small letter P, right? Click enter, and I'm going to say touch readme.md. Now you can see that now I've not created a readme folder, right? So you can see once I open this, just go ahead. Okay, let me go ahead to open this here, right? Okay, so what I can do is in this place I'll just say okay, let me go ahead to open this in a new folder so that you're not going to be confused, because that code base is looking like as if it's scary. I'm gonna say add a readme file. So I'm going to save this. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing very soon, right? And basically, so if I come here, you see that what I just did here is I just wrote add a readme file. You can see here, I just wrote add a readme file. So that's what I added here, right? So I'll just say add a readme file. I'll just say Python tutorial class. All right, so Python tutorial class. That's what I just did here. Now I've updated this README, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Ctrl S, save, and I'm going to push my code, right? So what I can do now is, since I've made an update, if I say git status, you will see that this particular README file is not yet staged for commit. All right. So what I can do now is I can go ahead to add it. So I'll say git add, and I'll say readme, right, .md. Then I'll say git commit -m, right. I'll say add a readme file, right. I'll click enter, and after that I'm going to push git push, right. So now once I do git push, if I come back to my GitHub, um, if I go back to my GitHub here and I refresh, you would see I have a readme file now. You can see readme file Python tutorial class. All right. So now that we've done those changes, remember that if I go back to the version that we cloned, right? So if I come back here and I do cd space dot dot, then cd the command line, then enter ls, right? And if I come back to my particular, sorry, my particular git, let me just come back here. All right. All right, so if I come back here right now, command line, then Python tutorial, you can see that we don't have that readme here because I've not yet pulled the changes that I made for my GitHub here. All right, so now what I can do now is I can come to my command line back, and all I have to do is just go to my Python, right, programming tutorial, and I'm going to do git pull. So git pull is just going to pull all the changes that I've made to that particular repository. You remember that here we already added a readme, right? So I'll just say git pull. And before I do git pull first, let's check what we have in this particular folder. I'll do ls, right? You can see here we just have first Python code. We don't have readme.md. But once I do git pull, all the changes that we have is going to come back here. You can see that we now have readme one insertion. Now, if I go back to my Chrome and I come here and I just refresh, right, you see that now we now have readme.md. All right. So you are lost, Emmanuel. So if you are lost, don't worry. All you have to do is just to calm down and watch this video again. All right. So I explained very. So if you can calm down and watch this video again, you are going to understand. Trust me. So let me just quickly reiterate on what we did. All right. So first thing we did is we went ahead to initialize a repository, right? So git init is just to tell Git that it should start tracking our files, right? So once we did that, we went ahead to do git add dot. So git add dot means it should add all the files and folder that we've committed, right? And basically next thing is to commit. So first thing, git add is going to add all the files and folder, right? Then git commit -m message is going to tell Git why you added those folder, right? Then after that, we went ahead to push our changes. All right. So git clone, then the repo URL. So you just have to come to the repository itself here and copy the URL if you want to clone it. All right. So git clone, then the repo URL, then you are going to clone those changes. And the next thing is, in case the person make an update to that particular repository, all you have to do after you've cloned it is to pull it. So what application did you use to create the folder? My normal folder on Mac, right? So if I come here, just your normal folder, right? So if you want to create a new file too, you can do the same thing there, right? So I hope you guys understood what we did today. If you do not really understand, it's your first time, don't worry. So what you can do is just to calm down. The recording is going to be available immediately after the live class. Go ahead to watch it again, right? Calm down, jot down, understand it step by step, right? Because basically, if you want to push your changes to GitHub, or if you want to pull whatever changes I'm working on, right? You have to know how to do this, right? So if you want to add, if you want to commit, just calm down, watch the video over and over again. And if you get confused and at any point, You can also do well to drop a comment and also drop a comment in your community platform also. I'm going to go ahead to reply you guys once I see those changes. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys got to understand what you did today. If you do, please do well to smash that like button, um, subscribe, and also comment types of video you want us to make regularly. And once again, don't forget, if you have any question, do well to use the comment section very well. And with that being said, that will be the end of this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in our next lecture. Peace.